Hey, how's it going, guys? Rico here from Forever and Profit. This video is an introductory video for my section. What I'm going to be covering basically is trend lines and just learning how to do basic trend lines. It's nothing too complicated, but if you're new to trading, they're going to help you a lot, especially seeing where the trend's struggling, where the trend might bounce, actually, stuff like that. So let's hop right into it. So right here, okay, what you're going to do is when you do your trend lines, make sure to do them on the H4 chart and the H1 chart. Those are the best charts to do them. What you can also do is switch your chart to a bar chart if you're having trouble. So let's say I switch it to a bar chart, I would connect my trend line right here. So let's connect the trend line. Let's make a trend line. So right here, okay, you may ask, why am I starting the trend line from here? Well, we came from a downtrend, as you can see here on the H4, bounced off the average here, started dropping, and it bottomed out right here. It made like a double bottom right here, and we got, I'm not going to go too into it, but we got divergence here on the TDI. So really what we're just focusing on is the trend line. So I'm starting here because this was the end of that big downtrend. So right here we got to rally back up. So I'm going to draw my trend line from this wick, and I'm going to try to connect it to at least 3 points. So we have one, that's 2 right there. And draw my trend line. Let me extend it out so you can see it. So as you can see here, I drew it from this wick. We got another tap right here. So this is the angle I'm going to use right here. It doesn't have to be a setup like this. It can just be one wick and then one wick and then one wick. What you want to try to do is get at least 3 taps on it. So that becomes a valid trend line. So right here, as you can see, although it wicked it right here, it made a reversal pattern. So right here, once it made that reversal pattern, I would probably draw my trend line right here. And as you notice here, as it rallied up, it hit the moving average, it came back, bounced off the trend line. So right here, we would know that we're still in an uptrend. Right here, it topped off at the 400 moving average. That's what that red line is right there. That's the 400 EMA. So I'm going to draw another trend line, but this trend line is going to be more like a channel. So I would draw from this wick right here. I think I had a better one. Let's see. Oh, I'm going to draw from this right here. These are channels. This is another trend line, but I'm not really liking because it's not connected. It's not hitting it too much. So let's see. Try to touch that wick. I mean, you can consider that a trend line. You got 1, 2, and it kind of struggled right here, and then it just tapped it one more time and then dropped. But right now I'll find a better area. So that's more like a channel. What we're trying to focus on here is, okay, so on this uptrend, as you can see, it did 3 taps. Right here, it topped off, and then we got a reversal pattern right here. It broke through this trend line, came back, retested it, and then it kept falling. So that means that trend line is now invalid. So we would probably delete it, and then I would start a trend line again. So from the top, from the highest point, and try to connect some wicks. I think this trend line is going to be a little awkward because it's angled off. Like, that's too much. So what I would do is, okay, I'm going to find my next low point. This is the start of the downtrend, right? So I would put my, at the next rally back up, I would put it right there, and I would try to connect it to at least 2 to 3 points. So we got 2 taps right there, and then a third tap, it failed. So there you go, you see 1, 2, 3. Well, you can say this is a little tap right here. So 1, 2, 3. That's so you can draw your trend line right there. It came up to it, failed to take it out, failed to close above it, and then rejected it, and it dropped more. And as you can see right here, it broke it. So then now what I would do is I would start my trend line going back up. So right here to the low, connect it to a wick or the body. I'm going to connect it like that. See, I have a buy right here, and the reason, I'll go into that in another video, probably a support. So as you can see right here, this is the lowest point right, from this downtrend. So we came from an uptrend back to a downtrend. We had our trend line right here that it got rejected right here, right? 1, 2, 3 taps, and then the fourth time it got rejected. Dropped heavy, broke below this low, came back up, rallied back up. So I would draw my trend line again, big wick. I draw my trend line here, connected to this point. And even though there's no 3 taps yet, this is still a valid trend line unless it gets broken. So what I would expect right now is a rally up, small retracement, possibly hit the trend line later on. And as long as it doesn't break, as long as it holds, this will be a valid trend line, if that makes sense. Okay, so let's go back and do some more. This is just kind of introductory. I mean, I'm sure you guys know the basics of trend lines. If you're new, these are going to help you a lot to try to figure out, okay, what kind of trend am I in? Got a triple bottom right here. Not really a good trend line. If I drew it from here, it would be kind of a sloppy. If I drew it from here to here, it's only 2 taps, and then the third broke. So try to find a better trend line. That's all it's going to give me. Switch to another pair. So I would go on my H4 chart or my H1 chart. Okay, right here. This is a nice downtrend on UJ, so I'm going to draw my trend line. See, right here, drawing it down, it would be kind of awkward. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick this wick right here. This is the start of the downtrend. It should be drawing it from here. Sorry about that. Take off the tracers. Should be drawing it from here. However, because of that consolidation for the drop, the trend line is not too pretty. So what I would do is I would angle it off and find another high point right here before the drop. So right here we get 3 taps, as you can see. I'm going to try to connect it to the that third point right here. So you can see we're on a downtrend. Actually, I see another place you can connect it to right here. See, so we get, this is the start of the trend line, right? We're just, since this is a downtrend, that's why we're drawing this trend line, obviously, right? So we get, that's the start, second tap, third tap right here. That's when you see that third tap and it fails with a reversal pattern on the H4, you can start drawing your trend line, right? And then you extend it, and then you would see what would happen. Okay, the market is dropping, consolidate. You get a false reversal pattern right here. As you can see right here, there's a false reversal pattern going up. It hits the trend line, and look what we get. We get a nice reversal pattern down to the downside. Boom, you could have taken an entry in there, a sell off that trend line break. Trend line rejection. So it drops down. Let me erase this. It drops down, and then it just consolidates and slowly starts to rise. So you could have taken a sell right there. Why? Because you already got 3 hits. It's a valid trend line. It comes up. The fourth hit got rejected. So you would probably take a sell in there. If that makes sense. Okay, so right here, I see a valid uptrend line. So look, this is the lowest point, right? Kind of bottomed out right here. It just kept wicking it. So I'm going to draw it from here. Right here is the second tap. I'll draw it all the way up so you can see what I'm saying. So look, I would draw the trend line when I would see, if I start seeing a slope up, like an uptrend, I would draw a trend line and make sure at least there's 2 to 3 hits. The better ones is 3 hits, obviously, right? So 1, 2, 3 right here, rejected it. It kept climbing up, consolidate. This consolidation is the reason it broke through a little bit, but look at this, rallied back up. Topped out at the 800 moving average, that dotted line is the 800 moving average, and then that's when it started its fall. But notice right here, when it broke this trend line, that's when you know you're heading into probably a downtrend. It's a little late to get in, but you can get out, you can get in on a retest. So right here, when it retested this moving average, it's under it, right? It hit the 200, and then it came back, hit the 400, dropped. So you could have gotten in on this little reversal pattern if you know you're in a heavy downtrend right here. Right, so right there you would sell. Boom. And then you draw your trend line again. As long as this trend line does not break, you can hold your sell. That's simple. Really not that simple, guys. I mean, not that complicated. Trading is pretty simple. Just gotta learn the basics and then move on from it. So right here, I see an uptrend line. Let's see if we can connect the points correctly. So we have a low point right here. Draw it upwards. Okay, so that wick right there, I'm going to try to connect it to that big wick. And if you want to know, like, you should watch Ryan's videos and Quillen's videos, and they go more into depth. I'll be going more into depth, but this is just the introductory, basically the trend line. So look, this is my lowest point. I got a wick right here. I'm gonna connect it to that, and then notice right here, it kind of just struggled right here, and then it finally broke upwards. And then look, there's our third tap right there. You got a tap right here, tap right here. So it's already 4 taps. Valid trend line up. What I would do is I would extend it. So let me put Ray. If you put Ray, it extends it. So notice when it came back to it, it retested it, but then it shot back up. Right here, it broke through. Once it broke through this uptrend line, just kind of consolidate. You know, you could be heading into a downtrend. So you would probably draw another trend line again. So this is just basic trend lines, guys. This is nothing hard. Notice right here, if I'm going to start from this peak, kind of drop, consolidate, come up, get rejected twice. So right there, that's our 3 hits. We will leave the trend line. When it came up a 4th time, zoom back. Okay, notice right here. So I drew my trend line from this peak, right? I'm connecting it to these 2 points that failed to take it out, right? Failed to break that high. Notice it dropped down, it came back to retest it. What do you see right there? You see a perfect reversal pattern on the 4-hour chart. That's very powerful. The higher the time frame, and if you see a reversal pattern on a higher time frame, that's very, very powerful. You know something's up. So what you would do is probably wait for a small retrace and then put a sell in. As long as this high that you're trading off of does not break, your sell is still valid. So notice the trend line held. Even though it rallied back up in 4 hours, the next 4-hour candle engulfed it. Could have put another sell in there again. Boom, big drop. You probably would have gotten out when you saw right here, when it bottomed out right here and it made like a triple bottom. And then you see a nice hammer with the wicks to the downside. You would have probably gotten out right there. Come up, retest it again. Notice this right here, look. Retest the same trend line. Reject it. Drop, wait for a small retrace, because look at that big drop, that was huge. So you wait for a small retest of this moving average. There's an 800 and a 400 right there, 200 and the 800, and then the 400. So you just wait for a small retest, you put a sell in there, because look at that big wick, you know it's going to drop, especially off a trend line right there. That's the 5th hit. So you put a sell right there and then hold it, and then look what you would have gotten. Huge drop. Okay, so look, we got a big wick right there. Let's draw a trend line off of it and see if it gets respected. Sorry about that, my mouse is tripping out. Notice right here, I'm going to draw from that big wick downwards, right, a 45-degree angle down. It gets respected right here, small wick above, right there, close the hammer. You could have taken another sell in there and just written it down. See, and then it hits it again, rejects it, and then we get consolidation, and that's why it breaks through. And now using the trend line as a support, boom, rally back up. You would have gotten out probably right here when it was bottoming out. When you see these big wicks towards the bottom, you can just draw your support line, right? This is for another video, but just showing you the basics of the trend line. When you see a big wick like this on the 4-hour chart, you can just draw a support right there, a support line, horizontal line. And notice it just keeps, it bounced off it 2 times, so you probably would have gotten out. Then just wicks it, boom, you get a nice little hammer reversal pattern kind of. That big bullish body right there, you would have gotten out for sure. And then you draw your trend line up again. Same thing, if it breaks it, you take a sell again. It's really that simple, guys. So that's my trend line video, just showing you the basics. 1 hour on H4 chart, so that's how you're going to be drawing your trend lines. If you're having trouble, just go to the bar chart, and you'll be able to draw your trend lines from there as well. So That's it, guys. Hope you guys learned something. My next videos I'll be going more into using the trend lines, basically taking orders off of them based on reversal patterns. So see you on the next video. Peace.